name is Ellen. Thanks, Felicity. I'm the board treasurer of North Dakota Local Food Alliance, and I'm gonna just be our host for the day. So I think that you guys probably all got the agenda. I don't know why I'm having a hard time remembering words today in the email, but feel free to pull that up. And we'll just get started with the introductions. So your name, location or affiliation, and I guess we didn't come up with a warm-up question, but I'm gonna say, what is your favorite indoor activity when it is -60 outside? So I'm just gonna call on us for efficiency, but Felicity, do you wanna start us off there?
Yeah, my name is Felicity Merritt. I am the program manager at Farms, and I live and work from my home in Fargo, North Dakota. And my favorite indoor activity is probably baking because I feel like it also heats up your house. It's a dual purpose. Not only does it give you something to do, but you also get nice and toasty warm. So that's my favorite thing to do when it's cold.
Nice, thanks, Felicity. Quinn. I'll move to Jenna. He might not be able to join right this second. Quinn, jump in if you, I'll come back to
My
you.
name is Jenna. I'm the local foods coordinator with Bismarck Parks and Rec here in Bismarck. I have been with my position for a year and 1 month now. So last year, December was my 1 year. And I work closely with Bismarcket, the community gardens, the farm to school, and whatever else is local foods. Like I said in the beginning, for those who weren't here, I'm starting a master's program in a week for sustainable and resilient food systems through the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. Hello.
Thanks, Jenna. Okay, Quinn, go ahead.
Hey guys, Quinn Renfant, board chair for Red River Harvest Cooperative, also representing the Farmers Market and Growers Association today. Usually I'm in Minot, just south of there on my little farm near Sawyer, North Dakota. But today I'm calling in from Colorado, where it's a little bit warmer, I hear, than North Dakota's been. So just sitting outside and taking it all in. Favorite indoor activity? Oh gosh. I work at a brewery, so that sometimes is kind of a hobby on those cold days, I'll be honest. Yep.
Yes. Thanks. Paul, I'll send it over to you.
Paul Overby, I farm in north central North Dakota. I'm also representing the Northern Plains Resource Conservation and Development Council. And favorite indoor activity, I don't know. I can finally catch up with reading through all the emails and research papers and all those kinds of things without feeling guilty that I should be doing something else.
Nice. Jake.
Yeah, so my name is Jake Callender. I live in Fargo, North Dakota, but I farm up in Hillsboro, North Dakota. I am the new program facilitator for Farms. I'm running their Farm Beginnings program currently. Probably my favorite thing to do when it's cold outside, find a warm blanket and watch a good movie. Like, I don't want to be outside regardless.
Nice. Sandra, we'll pass it over to you.
Sandy Shively, North Central Planning Council in Devil's Lake. And I would say just reading, finding time to sit down and read.
Yep, nice. Katie, I'll pass it to you.
Hi, I'm Katie Erickson. I am Farms AmeriCorps Vista member right now. And I've also owned a produce farm on the western side of the state for the past 5 years. I'm with Jenna and Sandra that I like to curl up with a book and a cup of hot tea on these cold days.
Nice. Jill.
Good afternoon, Jill Hawkinson. I'm with USDA Rural Development. I'm a community development specialist located in the Devil's Lake office. I guess I serve kind of as an advisor to the board here a little bit. And favorite thing to do, probably sit in front of my fireplace with my constant companion and have a cup of either coffee or hot chocolate, depending on what time of day it is.
Nice. We'll pass it over to Emily.
Hi, my name is Emily Howe. I work for NDSU Extension in Ward County as their horticulture agent. I'm honestly just kind of here to see what y'all are about. Stephanie from Farms invited me, so we're just checking it out today, see what's going on. My favorite indoor activity, so I'm originally from Texas, so as soon as it gets below 20 degrees, I'm inside. And it would probably be a combination of either having a nice hot cup of tea, knitting a sweater, or reading a book. Or all of the above at the same time somehow.
Glad to have you here, Emily. Thanks for coming. We'll pass it over to Chris.
Good afternoon. Jill, quick question. I'm curious who your constant companion is.
I forgot to mention, he'll probably pop in here and want to go outside in the cold. I have a little, it's called a little border collie, and he's always by my side, which I'm surprised he hasn't come in, but I did put him outside a little bit ago. So, but yeah, he's always, I forgot to mention Bandit. He's looks like a little bandit. He's got the little white stripe down. So if he comes in, I'll show you what he looks like. I apologize, I forgot to mention him.
Oh, no problem. I was just wondering if he was your spouse. I was like, oh, that's kind of nice. Maybe
No,
a
my
little
spouse is
codependent,
never
but nice.
home. He's always in his heated shop. Paul knows that.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm Chris Gessley from the Rural Development Team here at the State Association of Rural Electric Co-ops. And my indoor activity would be probably watching football, which aligned nicely in the recent days here with playoff football and the 60 below wind chills.
Thanks, Chris. I'll pass it over to Scott.
Oh, hi, everybody. I'm Scott Grandy Hill, and I'm on the very south edge of Bismarck here at United Tribes Technical College, where I teach agriculture for the most part. My favorite thing when it's really cold is it's a good excuse to just give myself time to do a crossword puzzle that I normally wouldn't do. So cuddle up with maybe a cup of coffee too.
Nice. Stephanie, will pass it to you.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Bloomhagen. I am way in the northern part of the state, up in Bottineau, 20 miles from the border with Canada. I'm the executive director for Farms. And when it's cold, I like to curl up in the comfy chair with a blanket and the cat on my lap and a good audiobook and my knitting in my hands and a mug of tea by my side.
Nice. All right, Jan.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jan Stankiewicz with NDSU Extension in Bismarck. And one of my favorite things to do is I like to read. I also like to play like card games or board games with my family.
Awesome. Shelby.
Hello, I'm Shelby Hazel. I'm the communications coordinator for Farms. I am in Rugby. Indoor activity, probably cooking or sewing or any sort of craft project, really. I have a bunch that I always need to start on, but they sit in a pile of weight.
Nice. Amanda.
Everyone, my name is Amanda Olson, and I am a farm to school specialist for North Dakota Department of Public Instruction. I actually am in Animus, and I also farm with my husband. And my favorite indoor activity is like Jan. I really love card games or board games. My favorite is Pinochle. And then if I get time, I do open gym Wednesday nights for volleyball. So that's an indoor activity that I'm really glad is around in the area. So thanks.
And then there's another Katie. I don't see your last name, but I'll kick it over to you.
Hey everyone, Katie Janke. I'm the Nutrition Services Coordinator for Bismarck Burley Public Health. I work alongside Jenna quite a bit and Jan, supporting local foods in the Bismarck community. And I would say my favorite indoor activity is spending time inside the gym, the basketball gym with between my 3 kids. So.
Awesome. We got Jacob.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Oh, sorry, I'm picking up my son from school. My name is Jacob Davis. I'm the Tribal Programming Director for Prevent Child Abuse North Dakota. I work on tribal food sovereignty initiatives. I'm just actually moved to Moorhead, so I'm based out of Moorhead now, Minnesota, but I work with the tribes in North Dakota. My favorite indoor activity I play league volleyball, so I usually do that twice a week, and then tournaments and open gym whenever I have extra time to do that.
Nice, thanks for that. And then I see Brent, you just joined, but we're just going through introductions. So name, location, affiliation, and then the warm-up question is, what do you do inside when it's -60? Favorite indoor activity. Oh, and it looks like he got kicked off or had to go. If he comes back, we'll let him introduce himself. But my favorite indoor activity is going to the Y to sauna. That is my refuge and solace. So thanks everyone, that was fun to hear. So now I'm going to turn it over to Scott Grandhill, our guest speaker of the day. He works out at United Tribes Technical College with the Sustainable Ag program, and he's going to give us a good overview of what they do out there and some of the exciting things they have in the works. So Scott, do you need me to share? I think you should be able to share your screen. And actually, real quick, I see Brent joined us again. So Brent, would you mind introducing yourself if you're able to? And then we're telling our favorite winter indoor activity.
Yes, hi, my name is Brent Trella. I work with the Northern Crops Institute at the North Dakota State University. Favorite winter indoor activity is wrestling with the kid and the dogs.
Nice. Thank you. Okay, back to Scott.
All right, well, thanks for inviting me to come speak with you guys today. It looks like screen sharing is disabled by the host.
Okay, Felicity will get that working.
All right.
Cool.
All right, can you guys see what I'm working on here?
Yep, looks great.
Okay, well, like I said, so I work here out at United Tribes, and we are in the land grant department technically. So we were a 94 land grant, so that was when tribal colleges got to get some of the benefits that some of our other colleagues have had. So for a while, we were focused mostly on extension and outreach through our program, and then in the year 2020, through some pressure just from what our students were looking for, and then also top down from administration, we ended up introducing a 2-year AAS degree. We had to take a little break during COVID there. It's hard to teach farming over Zoom. But eventually we have some graduates now. They were working for USDA ARS in Mandan. We have some working for Tribal Nations, and we've had a number of interns with small farmers in the area, which has been a great partnership that we've been working to develop. So our degree program, it combines a lot of what you would expect to see in a traditional agriculture program, but with a couple little interesting tweaks to it. So our students take horticulture, soil science, earth control, an IPM course, things like that. But we also focus on traditional and indigenous foods. So we have like a food sovereignty class. We have a full semester of ethnobotany. And then we have a whole semester where students go out foraging for ingredients and take it back to our commercial kitchen and prepare food with it, which is a really fun way to kind of close the loop on, not only are we producing and foraging for food, but now we're actually cooking with it and doing some value add things like that. But the real capstone for our degree program is we have a full year internship on campus. So what this is our students are starting just now in January. They call it spring semester. It doesn't feel like spring. But we'll start with defining what are our goals going to be for this year of production. What do we want to grow? What do we want to do with it? What are our plans? And then from there, students will order seeds and they'll start seeds and then work on producing. In last year, we had a community seed swap event where we brought people in to trade seeds around, which is a ton of fun. Especially fun to get people out to our campus here in the south side of Bismarck, because a lot of people don't really know that we exist out here. So it was a fun way to kind of connect with the community at large. This year, I think we're going to be looking to do a bedding plant sale. So keep your eyes peeled for that if you want to come out and support students trying to do some enterprise type stuff there. One unique thing with our program is we do require our students to be here for one summer semester. And that's just a function of our growing season. It's really hard. If we wanted to have our students see this whole year of production, it doesn't really make sense to then say, okay, well, it's May 10th, we'll see you in August, right? That's when everything happens. So some of the students don't, they might complain a little bit that they have to come to summer school, but it really allows us to have that continuity where they can start their seeds, work on things getting in the ground, and then see that through all the way through harvest and whatnot. One thing we were able to do that was kind of fun last year was we worked with Mandan ARS. They had some traditional Arikara seed, and we did traditional mound planting, which is a lot more work than I guess I thought it would be. You know, really, I really rely on mechanized tools a lot, so just manually making big piles. But it was a lot of fun, and to see the students get to connect with a more traditional method was fun. We had some 3 sisters, some 4 sisters, some different things, and they actually did really well. We have a couple high tunnels on our campus here. These are just, you know, your standard guys, but it lets us do some more high value things with, you know, trellising tomatoes and cucumbers, and we've grown some other crops in there here and there. But we have 2 tunnels currently. We're looking to expand to 4 just to give us more space. This one you can see is in fabric. We have another one that is just open for row crop production. We also have about an acre that's in production for vegetables. We're looking to expand some more of our land into larger plots for like larger corn production, because there's such demand for traditional varieties of corn. And then we are having a lot of success growing them out. But you know, when you're talking about a small plot, it just doesn't really make sense to have a lot of small plots of corn. We want to do more larger mechanized type productions. One of the really unique things with our program is that we kind of operate an on-campus CSA. So you can see here we've got, you know, we set up a little canopy outside of our high tunnel, and we just have a bunch of produce. And we actually have these are faculty, staff, and students that are lining up to come get some food for us. And we give it away on campus because we want people on campus to be able to connect with our program and see that, like, this is food that we're growing right here on campus, and you can take it back to your dorm or your house or whatnot. We've had really good response to this over the years. I think last year we did something to the effect of, I think we were at around $7,000 of produce given away on campus, which, you know, when students are required to weed and harvest for credit, then we don't have to worry about, you know, like making a profit on it, which, you know, sometimes is an interesting position to be in. When we go to farmers markets, we do sell, but we also want to take care of our community. So we kind of operate in multiple spheres there. One of the things that we focus on too, because a lot of our students, they don't have a ton of land. So a traditional, you know, agriculture degree looking at like large commodity crops doesn't quite make sense for most of our students. So we focus in on a fair amount of specialty crop production. You can see here, this is my former student, Aaron. He's graduated now, but he was running a little cut flower operation that was super popular on campus. And, you know, I know at farmers market, the flower vendors always do really well. So it's a good thing to teach our students. We also, for the past 2 years, we've been growing hemp for CBD production. You know, I'm not really sure that there's a great market out there, but it's definitely something that students are interested in, and we get to experiment with how to process the CBD and what to do with it, and kind of developing different products with it. We also grow sage and sweetgrass on campus, which is important for our community. There's always a need for it, especially people that live in town, maybe don't have access to foraging. They often appreciate being able to come to us and access some of the, you know, traditional plants that they want. One other thing that we've been working on for the past couple of years, we've been doing honey production. We have a couple hives. We're not making a ton of honey, but it's more of a proof of concept. When people think about, you know, animals and livestock, you usually think of having to go out and chop ice and feed animals and whatnot. But bees are kind of the weird edge case where you can just check on them once every couple weeks and then they make you a bunch of honey. So a lot of our students have access to tons of land. So this is an interesting thing for them to see that, like, hey, you know, for not a ton of money, you can get out there and start producing your own honey. One of the other things, so we have a commercial kitchen on campus. We're currently in the process of getting it inspected by the state so that people could rent it out for catering or for, you know, doing like production of, you know, value-added food products that they've grown. So we're hoping to get that in the next couple months as something for our community. But our students also really like to cook. So one of the things that we've been doing is trying to do like cooking for our students on campus. So here, this was a chilly day in October, but we had kind of the end of our harvest. So you can see there, we've got, you know, some fruit and vegetable trays that we made up for grab and go snacks for students that are on the move. We also made some, you know, some tea with some herbs that we grew. We had lettuce that we grown on campus. So we made like bison steak salads. And so that was a fun way to kind of get people to think about, like, okay, we're not just giving away food, we're actually preparing food. So you can come, this is where we're set up right here. It's right across from the main education building. So at lunchtime, students could just pop out and then grab food grown and prepared on campus. And that was a really fun opportunity to kind of get to engage our community and say, hey, we're not just the weird people on the edge of campus always with their hands in the soil. We're part of your community, and we want you to see what we're doing as well. So that's kind of where we've been at. The next big thing for us is in progress right now, and that is we are working on building a large 4-season greenhouse. So this is going to be 120 feet by 40 feet of growing space, which is almost intimidatingly large, but that's a good problem to have. We have a solar array set up, so we are designed to be net zero. This is going to be the first net zero greenhouse in the state. So we're pretty happy about that. And the big thing is that we're really excited about being able to do production in the winter months because, you know, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but if I could get into a greenhouse this last weekend and be nice and warm, it would probably do wonders for my mental health, not to mention growing some food. So for those of you that have been out on our campus, this greenhouse is going to be on the east side of the campus between the gym and the airport. It's going to be close. You can see our existing high tunnel kind of in the background there. So we're kind of making, like, this is going to be like our focal point for our ag program on campus. We're going to be having all of our things kind of clustered around, which is ideal so that it's, you know, we're not running around as much. So as far as how we're coming, this picture was taken in the fall. You can see we got the ICF forms up. This is a more recent photo. So we have the roof installed now. It is a 4-ply polycarbonate sheeting to try and give us a little bit of R value. These roof panels right now you can see are open, so we're working on getting them set up to manage our temperature. We're going to be having radiant in-floor heating to try to help with the thermal mass. And then this week the concrete slab will be poured. So we're getting close to hopefully nearing the end. I think the last estimate I heard is that we should be able to take possession of it in early March, which is exciting. So what are we going to do with our greenhouse? So obviously, like, I'm teaching horticulture right now, and we don't have a dedicated 4-season greenhouse. So trying to, you know, have plants available for my students to look at is challenging when we don't have a 4-season greenhouse. You know, I don't like showing pictures of plants. I'd rather have some samples. And, you know, right now we have a shop bay with some, you know, little hanging LED lights where I try to grow stuff, but it's too cold in there, and we have issues with damping off and whatnot. So just from an educational standpoint, being able to have plants being grown year round will totally improve our educational efficiency, just because being able to see, touch, smell things is way better than looking at photos. Another thing we're working on is we want to hire a student intern to manage part of the greenhouse for food production for our cafeteria. Our cafeteria on campus, they have a salad bar every day. Well, if they're going to have a salad bar, there's no reason they shouldn't be serving lettuce that we're producing on campus. Our goal is if we can sell the product to the cafeteria similar to what they're paying for the product from the Cisco truck, you know, then that money can go to funding a student to manage this project for them. So in that regard, we don't want to be doing charity work here. We want it to be self-sustaining. We want to show the value that we're bringing with our hyper-local produce. Another project we're working on, this is with the USDA ARS and Mandan. We're working on a seed production and propagation grant for traditional plants. There are a lot of people that don't have access to traditional like medicinal plants and other traditional foods. So we have a multi-year grant here where we're trying to just develop a seed stock production program. And right now, trying to get stuff started early in the year to be ready to transplant is challenging when we don't have a dedicated growing environment. So this will for sure help with that. We're planning on leaving about 25% of the greenhouse open for research on campus here. We have the IRRC, that's the Intertribal Resource and Research Center. So it's run out of the Science and Tech Building, but they have a long NSF grant designed to build capacity for Indigenous research and things like that. So we have a lot of their students that are interested in doing research on plant accumulation of metals, or like what are the effects of worm casting on production of vegetables, things like that, but they don't have space. So since our space is going to be so large, we're earmarking a good 25% of it for research space, and that could get built out with whatever functions are needed. We're also going to be doing our seed starting for our main farming operation in there. In the past, we've done it in a high tunnel. And while that high tunnel, we did have a heater in there, it was just one layer of plastic. So it was really challenging to keep heat in it when we had, some of those late blizzards like we had the last couple of years in April. So being able to get our starts going at the right time, I think should help our production. One of the things that we're looking at is bringing in some sort of hydroponics or aeroponics maybe. I have a degree in soil science. I think plants belong in the ground, but the reality is that there are a ton of greenhouses going up that are going to be producing in these hydroponic type systems, and there's demand from our students to learn how to grow that. Like I know up in Newtown, they're going to have a large system. We met with some of the chefs at Prairie Nights. They're remodeling their steakhouse, and they're planning on bringing in a couple, like 2 to 3 connexes for vertical farming, things like that. And they don't have staff that knows how to operate those. So, this is a good operation to bring into our students to give them that experience. And then finally, we're planning on collaborating with TJES, is the Theodore Jamerson Elementary School. So we have an elementary school on campus, and it's for our students at the college that have elementary school kids. And the cool thing is that the elementary school has the same schedule as the college. So when the college has a holiday, the elementary school has a holiday. So it's great for our students that have childcare issues. But they always want to bring in some sort of, agriculture, growing food type thing. And it's really a challenge when our growing season is often when these students aren't around. So, they'll say, okay, well, what can we do? So we've grown microgreens in their classroom and some small scale things, but being able to grow plants that kids want to eat in the winter time is going to be huge for getting them excited about STEM and agriculture and things like that. So we'll also be having this head house here. So this is the space that's going to be adjacent to the greenhouse. So we'll have a bathroom in there. We're planning on outfitting this as a lab classroom with benches and stools. So this is going to be a place where our agriculture courses can go there and have class and then work in the greenhouse to kind of have a continuity of class instead of saying, hey, come to the classroom and then we're going to have to, drive across campus to go see some plants. This is definitely a space that we are already thinking about what kind of community workshops can we do here, since it's going to be heated and we'll have access to plants. So in the wintertime especially, this could be quite a useful thing. So if any of you guys are looking for a space for an event, this is something we can talk about. One of the big things too is that having some shade for summer events. We've had issues when we've tried to do summertime farm tours and things like that, is that we don't have a lot of shade on that part of our campus that our growing areas are. So a couple of years ago, we had an elderly woman, almost have a medical issue. She had to get shade and sit down. We were worried that we were going to have people getting overheated, and same thing with young children that are coming out for events. Having shade is a big thing, and same with restroom access, because where we're at, this is going to be the new closest restroom to us. So it's going to really just allow for a lot more kind of community events and things to happen. Like I said, we're planning on this side of campus as just being kind of this agricultural area that we're going to showcase all of our stuff. So let's see, I think that is about all of what I have in terms of what we're doing and then what we're excited about. So yeah, like I said, I think March we should have this facility done, and then we're excited to try and get it outfitted as quick as can and start doing stuff with it. So yeah, I think we have some time left. So if anybody has any questions, I am happy to do my best to try and answer them or provide some more info.
Go ahead and unmute if you have a question and go ahead.
Hi, Scott. Thanks for all that info. Awesome news about the construction and all that. So when in the beginning, you mentioned that it was mostly to be used for your degree seeking students, right? Do you have any plans for any extension work for like the greenhouse and those structures, or is it mostly for like enrolled students?
That's a good question. So, you know, right now we have a lot of students, so we're looking at it kind of from that standpoint, but we also do recognize that there is a lot of extension work that we can do. And we've had a lot of efforts at different levels working with, you know, our community here on campus, but also with the greater Bisman community. And then even a lot of times when we have members of our tribal communities, they're coming into Bismarck for other events. So like, can we dovetail in with a workshop or something like that in here as well? So that is definitely something that is on our radar. Like I said, we're more focused in right now. We have some events lined up with the elementary school on campus and then some of our other student groups. But if there is an event that any of you all would have would like us to co-host with, so please reach out, because we're going to have a great space.
Awesome. Thanks.
See, Paul's got his hand up there.
Yeah. Say, Scott, when you built that greenhouse, did you use like pass-through solar panels, some of those new designs where the light goes through and generates solar power right there on the greenhouse, or is it a separate location for your solar panel system?
Yeah, so the array is located about 50 feet south of the greenhouse, which was not my first choice because it kind of blocks the view when you're inside of it. But we were looking initially at, could we mount them in a way that they would like catch summer sun, but then let winter sun in. But it came down to an issue with the contractor we used for the roof. It was designed as a standalone roof, and then it wasn't rated to hold the weight of a whole array on it. So that's why we ended up just going with a separate array on the ground, which, you know, not ideal, but, you know, net zero is still pretty fun.
And those panels are bifacial, Paul, they do absorb the light through the bottom. I work for the company that installed them, so.
Okay. So you're gonna raise stuff underneath of your solar array?
So the solar array, it's the panels themselves are at their lowest end. They're only a few feet off the ground, so it's, I don't know that we're gonna use the space underneath it for much, but that's definitely, we have talked about putting in a shade house on the other side of campus, so maybe there's some way to use the shady space.
I've been pushing agrivoltaics, so that's why I asked that question. I'd really like to see some of that happen in North Dakota.
No, I agree. I've been reading some interesting stuff with, you know, like in Germany, they're growing a lot of hop vines underneath things. And yeah, it's like, if you have animals, can you graze them under it? They get out of the sun. So it seems like something that we should look into.
Well, you guys will be excited to hear that there's a new ground mount for research of agrivoltaics in North Dakota at the USDA Research Center in Mandan. It was completed this fall, and then they'll start the experiments with North Dakota crops this spring. So there'll be some real data for North Dakota soon.
Scott, what has the interest from the students been for the new program? Are you getting enough? Is it too much? And just kind of like, what has the response been?
Yeah, so when we first started the program, it kind of took, I mean, you know, COVID came in pretty quick there, so that was an issue. But in our second year, we went from having 3 students to about 16. Which really was a good problem to have. And then we've had a number of students start to graduate, and our numbers are kind of slowing down. So we're looking at, do we want to start actively recruiting? Whereas in the past, we kind of we were at capacity with what we had. So we didn't really pushed that, but now that's kind of our next thing, is where do we get our next cohort of students from? And yeah, like we've had, so the program is Sustainable Ag and Food Systems, which is kind of interesting because we have a number of cooking classes as part of what we're doing, and also like value add to all of our, grown things. So we do pickling and canning and things like that. So it's kind of a unique space where we're able to kind of catch some students that maybe don't necessarily want to only think about farming, but also they like having access to produce and cooking and things like that. So we kind of get a unique mix in that regard.
Are non-tribal members able to enroll in the program, Scott?
Yeah. So you totally can. We kind of are tailored towards enrolled tribal members. We have a tuition waiver for tribal members. But yeah, the rule of thumb, I think, is you have to have 70% tribal college students to be a tribal college. And I think our numbers right now are about 95%. So there's definitely space. We've had non-tribal members in our program, but it's been great.
How long is the Sustainable Ag program? Is it a 2-year degree?
Yeah, so it's 2 years, it's 60 credits, and then we have that one summer semester that we want the students to be part of the full year of production. So most of our students are out in that 2 years. Occasionally we'll have someone decide to spend a little longer. And we have had a number of students that have, after they've gotten our associate's degree, they've gone over to get a business bachelor's on top of that, which I think would make them pretty dangerous folks out there.
Scott, I heard you say that part of the program is an internship during the summer. And then you also said at the beginning something about students intern on local farms. Is that two separate things, or is that, do they intern at the college and on local farms?
So that is two things, but it does. So the way we have it, we have internship courses that the students take for credit. However, we have plans in place so that if a student wanted to, say, do an internship at the Mandan ARS instead, they would then get credit for that as an independent study. What we have seen, though, is a number of our students that their first semester or the first year, the first summer, they've taken classes and they've done our internship courses on campus. And then the next spring, that's when they would go out and work for a small producer as an intern capacity. Which is kind of, I think, really a best of both worlds option, because there's no one right way to do anything. So to have students get to learn from myself and my colleagues and then go off and learn from someone else, it really kind of balances out their education and gives them more ideas of how to do things.
One of your students interned at Forager Farm through the Farms internship program last summer. We should talk offline about if it's possible for her to get credit for what she did.
Yeah, I think she's graduating, so I don't know that she needs credit, but we
okay.
can definitely chat about it.
Maybe future collaboration though.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's on our radar, because I don't want to have to tell a student, oh, don't go work for an actual operation. Instead, come stay here and work because you need the credits. So that's something we've been in discussions about, of like, making sure that if a student wants to get an internship instead of our internship course, we have a path for that to go forward.
I'm going to have my staff reach out to you for a more in-depth conversation about that, because we are reimagining our internship program currently.
Chris has his hand raised.
Yeah, really cool information, Scott. Is there a place where we could follow along on these various programs and like construction efforts, and will they be posted? Like, is there a blog by chance or social media?
So our social media is run by our college relations department. So we send them things and they make it onto the UTDC Facebook page here and there. Outside of that, we don't have a blog, but that's not a bad idea. Maybe something we should discuss as a team, because we definitely, are always doing something kind of fun out here. So I think getting more eyes on it is a great idea. So I will send that one up the chain of command.
Yeah, I'd be really curious to know like when the plant sale is happening or when that seed exchange, if you plan to do that again as a Bismarck resident, that'd be fun. And then do you guys still do the winter markets out there, Scott?
Yeah, so the winter market we've been having, well, after COVID, it was tough to bounce back from. We wanted to do it, and then just right now with where we are with in terms of our students and capacity, we don't have a ton of time for promotion of the market, and that's been a challenge. So it's something that's on our list of we want to try to reimagine it, because the best markets were the ones that we did in conjunction, like when we had our seed exchange, we also had a market there, and it was a really successful market. And then also there's been the new market out of Buckstop Junction that was having markets on all the same dates as Winter Market was scheduled, which was kind of, really, stretching everybody thin. So yeah, the winter market, we haven't been doing it this year because we just haven't had capacity, but it's something that is on the list that we want to try to figure out a way to make it successful for everybody.
Nice. Any other questions?
Scott, you mentioned that some of your students will complete the 2-year degree and then go on for a 4-year in business. Is there any talks of expanding this program to be a 4-year or transferring it or partnering with another university so they could do a 4-year that was focused in sustainable ag and food systems?
Yeah, so we applied for that USDA Next Gen grant and did not receive it, but that would have been a partnership with NDSU for paying for students to get their 4-year or a master's degree after getting our degree. So it's something that's on our radar. It just, as far as us offering a 4-year, there has been some demand from students, but in terms of where we are with our faculty in our department, and then also like upper division support courses, we just don't have a ton of bachelor degree programs yet. So there's not a lot of available, 300 and 400 level courses. But it's definitely something that's on our radar, and that's definitely something we're looking to partner with. Like being able to, we have a number of articulation agreements and other programs to do 2+2s, and that was something that, yeah, like I think it would be a great pathway, because a lot of times what we're seeing with the other programs is when you have the tribal students come to the tribal college for their 2-year, then when they go to the 4-year, they're often much more successful than tribal students going to the 4-year program straight away, just because they've had a chance to have some smaller class sizes, develop some skills, and then they tend to be super successful in the 4 years. So we're interested. We don't have anything on the book.
Yeah, and Scott, maybe we could connect too, because I know that folks within the College of Ag at NDSU would be definitely interested in kind of, if there aren't any articulation agreements for those 2+2s, that we could try to see if something lines up and if it makes any sense to kind of move forward with some of those.
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
Well, seems like we had a lot of great questions there. I had one more, and that was that commercial kitchen space. Will that be available for rent from other community members, or do you need to be kind of connected to the campus for that? I'm just thinking of like other farmers that are trying to do value-added products like canning and pickling, or even food producers like chefs that are making sauces and things.
Yeah, so when the Bismarck Food Co-op went under, we lost a lot of capacity for commercial production. I know a lot of people were using that. So that is one thing that's at the front of our mind, is what does our mission want to be? So obviously we want to take care of our students that maybe have a business incubation program there where they could try selling something. But at the same time, we do get a lot of requests from community members to use our kitchen, and we're not inspected yet, but that's something that we're looking into. So what we're looking at, there's I forget the name of it, in Fargo, there's a commercial kitchen you can rent and it supports a number of food trucks and small businesses and whatnot. And you can rent it, hourly on a set schedule or whatnot. So we're looking at that, and we're thinking maybe our model is going to be something where if we have space, it's open for anybody, but we want to give a preferential deal. Yes, square one, thank you. But maybe we want to give a preferential deal to our students or enroll tribal members where they get maybe a better rate than just community at large. But we also see a lot of times, I think people don't think that, you know, they think that we're just kind of an island on the south side of town here, but we are, you know, we're a college, we're open to the public. We want people to come here and hang out and see what we're doing. So we definitely want to be open to the community at large.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, Scott. That was very informative, and I live in Bismarck and know about a lot of things happening down at UTTC, but it's cool to hear there's so much more that I even knew. So I really appreciate you speaking today and sharing that, and hopefully we can all become more involved out there as well, people around this area. Just for sake of time, I'm going to move us on to the next agenda item. We have an update on the North Central Regional Food Business Center. I'm not sure who on Farms is taking that, but I'll pass it to them.
There's been so much happening since the last meeting that I thought it was time for an update. And Chris, I invite you to co-share with me. So the North Central Regional Food Business Center spent the fall, November and December having community input meetings. Farms facilitated meetings in Minot, Williston, Devils Lake, Fargo, and Jamestown. That's 5. And are working with Red River Regional Council to plan one in Grafton. And I know that Roosevelt Custer Development Council facilitated some sessions, I believe, in the Bismarck area and online. We have posted the results from the 5 that Farms had at farms.org/NC-RFBC, and that is in the agenda. In the meantime, collectively, we also held a statewide North Dakota local food producer survey, and we are analyzing the results from that. And then North Dakota Association of Rural Electric Cooperatives is taking all of this information. Each of the regional planning councils, by the way, had to create an action plan for their region. So those action plans have been created and submitted. And NDAREC is using all of this to create a statewide action plan. And that's where I'll turn it over to you, Chris.
Yeah, thanks. I presented a few details of that action plan on our latest RFBC partner call. And since then, things have changed. So I was just going to update those slides, or I was going to share those slides on this call, but then I was like, that's not quite the path we're on anymore. Like Stephanie said, we are aggregating the feedback from these regional action plans, which contained great input from producers, businesses, TA providers. Just lots of good information. And I'll share with you just a few of the highlights that we found. This will be a 5-year plan, and we will have, the plan is to have it done by March 31st. So there are 3 kind of key high-level themes that we've seen emerge when going through the regional action plans and rolling in the producer survey results. The first one was increased public awareness and support for local food systems. And that was kind of the first gap/opportunity that we found. And then there are several layers under that, such as create and maintain public-facing web presence, consumer education, tout our successes, inform media of successes. So there's the bullets and sub-bullets and bullets under those. And the second big theme that we've seen emerge was support growth of businesses within the local food supply chain. And that would consist of direct TA, exploring potential development to mutually owned and operated food hubs. And with that comes the shared processing space and some farm/food incubators. And then kind of the third big theme that we've seen emerge was education and advocacy. Under that is producer education, TA education. Under advocacy, a lot of it has to do with zoning and land use regulations and just ensuring favorable regulations for selling local produce to institutions. So there are several layers to that onion, but yeah, we have all of it aggregated. We've seen the common themes emerge, and now we're going to start fleshing those out in terms of some actionable things that can come from each of those high-level priorities, and then suggest some project leads and timelines that are associated with those tasks. But it's going well. It's, you know, it's been said before, but it just fits so well that it's building the plane as we're flying it. But we're learning a lot as we go through it, and it's been a good process so far.
That's great, you guys. Thanks so much for that update. Just to piggyback on that, I recently held some community conversations in Minot around sustainability. And part of what came of those community conversations was local foods were brought up over and over and over again. It was interesting. I didn't actually expect that as part of that conversation, but people are really thinking about that. So there'll be a report coming out on that. There were 5 meetings, and that should be out soon for the public. So I'll make sure to share that with you guys when it's ready. And then I think I will move us on to updates, NDLFDA member updates. And I see Jake, you have one on there, so I'll let you start out and then open it to others.
Yeah, so I have a short presentation just about all the conferences that we are aware of at the moment. So I will share my screen and kind of go over it fairly quickly, just to kind of give you guys an overview. Can everybody see my slides?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So just a little overview. This is mainly for everybody here and any farmers that you're aware of that are interested in attending any of these conferences. I strongly encourage you and anybody else that you know to attend as many as you can with the time available to you. Farms is offering farmers reimbursements to attend local food conferences. Some of the costs that we can help reimburse is the registration fees, mileage, plane tickets, lodging. But if you have any questions, you are welcome to email me or anyone on the farm staff. Some of these are a little past dated, but it's good to know for next year. So the Minnesota Organic Conference was just this past in St. Cloud. The Thriving Farmer Summit was an online training workshop over this past weekend. I do know that they have some recordings posted on their website. The NDGLC annual meeting is today and tomorrow in Minot. The Eco Farm Conference, this is a little bit farther away, but it's still interesting. We've had one farmer in the farms group that attended this, and he said he very much enjoyed it. But if you can get out to California in a few days, it's January 17th through the 21st. Again, it's just a really good idea to remember this one for next year in planning. The NPSAS conference coming up next weekend in Aberdeen, South Dakota. Farms will be attending this. We will have a table there. I should mention that in this presentation, all of the links to more information on the conference is in the title. So all you have to do is click on the title and it'll bring you right to the website for registration and more information on that specific conference. The Organic Vegetable Production is an online event, also has an in-person event in Madison, Wisconsin. The Farmers Market Vendor Symposium, January 26th through the 27th in Minot, North Dakota. The Innovated Sales Webinar Series is a 4-part series. The first one will be January 30th. So if you're looking at customer experience or want to increase your sales for your business, this is a great opportunity to join these 4 sessions. The O-Grain Organic Grain Conference in Madison, Wisconsin will be February 1st through the 3rd. The NDSU Field to Fork webinar series will start February 21st, and it'll be weekly on Wednesdays until May 1st. This is all online. It's free to participate. Just make sure that you are registering for it. The Marble Seed Organic Conference will be in La Crosse, Wisconsin, February 22nd through the 24th. Farms will also be in attendance to this conference. The North Dakota Local Food Conference, March 21st through the 23rd in Bismarck. Farms will also be tabling here. And then I believe this is my last one, the National Farm Viability Conference, April 29th through May 2nd in Charleston, West Virginia. It's a little bit of a drive, but if you want to take a little vacation before the season starts going, this is a really great one as well. So that is the PowerPoint. And then I can share this information in the chat as well. Just so if you know of any farmers that are in your community that are interested in conferences or want to know what opportunities are coming up in the next few months, please share this with them. It's a great opportunity for everybody.
Jake, what's the application process like to get some of that paid for through farms? Is that an easy process or?
So what we have been doing in the past, the registration fees, your mileage, all your expenses, we just asked as you accrue those expenses to keep your receipts, and then you're able to send them those receipts into us so we can reimburse you. We'll send you a check in the mail. It's typically how we've been running it with our Farm Beginning students. So everybody is responsible for registering yourself and getting yourself there. If you need a hotel room, that's all your responsibility. All we ask is just keep those receipts and then send them in to us, and then we'll be able to help you out.
And that, I assume that has to be like a farmer would have to apply and be approved before, you know, I'm sure you have a limited amount of funds you can be giving out. So what's the approval process, I suppose?
Yes, that is a very good question for Stephanie. I know I'm more on the Farm Beginning side, and the rules and program that we have for the Farm Beginnings students is a little bit different than we have for the public. So I'll let Stephanie speak on that for a second.
So we've created a form, have created or are creating. Katie is working on that. And I believe it's the one that Felicity put in the chat.
Nice.
So we just ask that you fill out that form and we will review and let you know whether we've approved your request or not. Our focus is really on expanding and sharing knowledge. So the key is if we give you support to attend a conference, in turn, we ask you to share what you've learned, to come back and spread that knowledge. So that's kind of your payment, you're paying it forward. So, and we will work with you to create opportunities. You can write a blog post for the farm's newsletter. You can share in a webinar that we will coordinate. You can record a video, really whatever format fits your style the best, but just the idea is to share that knowledge so that others who couldn't attend that conference can still benefit.
Great idea. We have just a couple of minutes before we have to go, but does anyone else have any other updates or grants they know of coming about, things like that, events?
I'll share our USDA Rural Business Development Grant is open now. We're accepting applications till February 28th. So I'll stick that in the chat though too. And I did put an update in the member updates, I think, as well. So
perfect. Thanks, Jill. All right, anybody else? Last call? Okay, looks like we're good. Thank you all so much for joining us today. It's always just great to come together with people thinking about our food systems and having a network of people to rely on and bounce ideas off of. So I really appreciate you all being here. We will have our next meeting in 1 month, and just watch for the emails coming out about the dates and times. And in the meantime, stay warm.
Thank you, Ellen, and thank you for Scott for sharing.
Yes. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank
Felicity,
you.
will you leave the room open?
Sure.
Okay.